Welcome back for another episode of Errant Adventures, the solo actual play podcast where stories are told at the speed of dice. With me, Steve Morrison, your game master and solo player. Now come on, let's grab the dice and see where our story goes. Welcome back to another episode of Errant Adventures. As always, I'm your game master and solo player, Steve Morrison, but today I am not solo. I am joined by a very special guest. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks out there?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Stormer. I am the great clown Pagliacci of tabletop RPG podcasters. I am a podcast creator. I am a game designer. I am, as of last week, a published author. That's weird.
Hey,
or I guess last week at the time of this recording. When this comes out, that might be old news. We'll find out. I do a lot of things. You can find all of those things at jeffstormer.com. The thing that you probably know me most readily from is a show called Party of One, which I've run for, almost 10 years now. Whew, that number hits harder every time I say it. That's an actual play podcast about two-player role-playing games. It's a little bit of an interview show. It's a little bit of an actual play. And it's really just an experience where two people sit down, play a game together, tell a story, and get to know each other over some great conversation.
And it is definitely a can't-miss show. I absolutely love it.
I appreciate that. It's a thing that is very special to me.
I'm glad. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. We today are going to play one of my favorite role-playing games, and as you just revealed to me, possibly your favorite role-playing game as well, a little bit of Ironsworn Sundered Isles.
I love Ironsworn so much. Ironsworn, Starforged, and now Sundered Isles, these games are so... The way that I would describe it, I guess the tabletop game way that I describe these games to me, and so the listener understands, this game is, I think, my D&D. I think this is my Dungeons. The way that you have people who talk about Dungeons, talk about every other game and situation, they're like, well, you could just do that in D&D. That's me. The number of times I have quote unquote played a game, but what I've really played is Ironsworn, and I've just ripped out tables and things and then gone, and then I'm just going to play Ironsworn the rest of this.
Yep.
The number of I played through genuinely, I think 30 years of the Great Pendragon campaign, but I just did it in Ironsworn because I was like, I'm just doing this by myself. I'm just going to use Ironsworn and then just kind of add in King Arthur stuff whenever I feel like it.
Oh, that is such a great idea. I love that.
Yeah, and having the actual Great Pendragon campaign up and going year by year, and then just using the Ironsworn generators and results to go. And then this weird thing happens to my knight ended up the consort of a deep woods witch with a wooden a living wooden arm. It was sick. It was cool as hell.
That's awesome. That sounds exactly like what I would expect would come from Pendragon / Ironsworn.
It was good as hell.
I got my start playing Ironsworn Starforged here on my channel, and my most recent campaign I've been playing Traveler, which I love deeply. It's my first time playing Traveler. It's fantastic, but there have definitely been some times where I've been like, man, I could be playing Starforged right now.
So actually, it's so funny that you say that, because the other long-running solo campaign that I do is playing Traveler in Starforged.
That's amazing.
What I do, the tabletop RPG collection that I collect most fervently is extra modules for Traveler. So either career modules or alien modules. And I love Traveler character creation more than is healthy. But I actually don't really like playing the game. The actual game leaves me cold. So I will just crack open those books, make a character, and then go, all right, cool. Now what's this character doing in a game that I enjoy playing?
Oh, that's awesome. It's such a great idea too, because I can totally see how playing Traveler itself can... Yeah, it's a lot of bookkeeping, and it's, there are parts to the system where you're just okay, this is fine. And with Ironsworn, Like that system just sings.
Sings is the exact right word. It just every time you pick up dice or look at a result, like you are thrown 3 steps further, and I love that experience.
Yeah. Well, let's stop talking about it and let's play it. Yeah. So my idea for this campaign is to have you roll on one of the truths. Then we can create a character for you. I already created a character. And then we're going to use the quest starter from that, whatever truth you pick that you want to roll on. I have not made any decisions about this world yet. And so we're going to build that part of it together, leaving some room for in the future, having other guests on to make their own roles and add their own little bits to this world that we're creating together. But I think maybe we should just start with the truth. Yeah. And then I'll tell you about my character. And then from there, you can kind of create your character. And then we will jump right in.
That's sick. I love that. I'm excited.
Perfect. So the question I have for you is, what truth do you want to roll on? Do you want to know about the Sundering? Do you want to know about relics in our world, about the modern era, about how we swear iron vows, navigation through these Sundered Isles, ancient empires or modern empires? I don't know. Piracy, religion, magic, beasts, or horrors?
Oh, I like horrors. I like horror. I'm gonna narrow it down. I like horrors. I like relics. I like the Sundering. I think those are the ones that I am most, and piracy. Those are the 4 that I'm pulled towards. Is there one of those 4 that you really want to dig into today?
Let's do horrors. I feel like let's start it off with a bang.
Let's do horrors. This feels juicy. I'm excited. All right, I'm going to grab me some dice here. My favorite part of my day, I get to match the aesthetic of the dice to the vibe of the game that we're playing. I've got this nice sort of bronze-ish, almost looks like wood or rusted. That feels like aesthetically very pleasing. And
awesome.
We'll go with a ghostly, I can't find quite the ghostly green ones. You know what? This one's the color of the sea. That's perfect. Here we go.
Perfect.
It's so important for me to match the dice to the vibe.
Well, you hold on to that green one because, Sundered Isles introduces the cursed die, where you roll an extra D10, and we can kind of modulate this if we want to, but I think it's on a 10, the result of your oracle roll is cursed.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, I am rolling my D100.
Okay.
That's a 32. The answer is put enough grog in a sailor and they'll tell you stories of doomed ships and ghostly visitations. It's nonsense.
Okay. How do we feel about that?
I feel good about that. I like that.
Okay.
I like the energy of like, these are stories that are shared, but that's not, but like if you encounter it, you are still doubting that it's real, I think is the energy.
Yeah. So the quest starter that corresponds to that one is, years ago, a ship bearing a stolen treasure was sunk in a fierce storm. But mariners report seeing this vessel sailing under the light of the wraith moon. Its sails tattered, its weather decks empty. It is a cursed ship, folks say, doomed to carry its ill-gotten treasure for all eternity. Why do you intend to prove or disprove this tale?
Disprove is so interesting. Disprove is very juicy here.
Let's go with disprove then.
Both of these options are juicy, and I want to know, I love that the phrase that disprove is here, has some energy to it. Mm-hmm. But either way, once we know the characters, I think we'll know why we intend to either prove or disprove it. But
yeah,
I'm that's where my brain is spiraling as I start to think about a character.
I love it, and it'll be interesting because we may end up falling on 2 different sides. Maybe one character is trying to prove it, and the other is trying to disprove it.
There's something juicy there.
Yeah, there's something there.
I need to stop saying the word juicy. I'm Jeff. I'm marking the word. We're done with that word.
No more juice. My character is named Caspian Silver, but you can call him Powder Keg. And he is a sorcerer. That's one of the paths that I rolled up. A duelist. And then the third path that I took was crew commander, because he is the captain of a small sloop called the Kiss of Death.
Okay, I like this. I like this energy a lot.
So, and I kind of envision this character as having kind of being fairly like stately. He carries like an elaborate masquerade mask, and he has this collection of keys that are hung from an iron ring that kind of hangs from his belt. And he's wearing a military cutlass. And he, like, there's rumors that kind of swirl around him that he may have been involved with some faction here in the Sundered Isles and was, whether it was cast out or betrayed, but he is currently on a vendetta against a powerful figure within that faction.
Okay. I really like that energy. That's good. That's good vibes. I'm drawn immediately to pulling on the opposite direction, and I've got my first asset immediately.
All right.
I'm gonna go with an urchin. I think that's really that's a fun energy to pair with.
Mm-hmm.
As you are like commanding this ship, there is also like somebody that has sort of just like ended up on here. Is very exciting to me. That's got a fun dynamic. Thinking about a name, we're gonna go Jasper Buffett. Jasper feels good.
Jasper's fun.
I really leaning hard on the question. Now that we know the question we're exploring, I am being pulled towards like an urchin scholar is very interesting. There's a very interesting pairing there that really pulls me in that direction.
Yeah.
I think that's our second asset, because like that's a juicy, there's a like as something that requires so much like discipline and time and commitment as like being an expert and a scholar, to do that and then specifically be like end up on a ship where you're just sort of like hiding out is very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the third asset for this character,
oh, I can't wait to hear it.
It's
gonna be cool.
Yeah, I heard you almost said it. Yeah. I'm thinking, I keep coming back to Cutthroat.
I feel like it's interesting because that can apply to both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could be a cutthroat urchin. That makes sense. But, you know, you could be a cutthroat scholar, just writing papers and nailing them to people's doors.
That feels really compelling. And specifically Cutthroat is very literally like you're trained in knives, and that feels really fun.
Yep.
That's a good energy. I think that's the play. I think there's something very okay. I've got this character now. Jasper is really fleshed out in my head. I fully know Jasper now. Now I've got it. Which is the great thing about Ironsworn for me is like just grabbing 3 assets and going like, okay, I now see the character that has emerged.
Yeah, this character is fully embodied.
Okay, so I'll tell you about Jasper. Jasper is in life was a well-to-do scholar, but was a well-to-do scholar that was like haunted by the metaphorical albatross around his neck of like a desperate kind of ambition, and I think is specifically on the run because like I think is on the run from having committed a murder. I think is the vibe. I think Jasper has disappeared from whatever like wealthy, Massachusetts college town that he grew up in, specifically because like there was a rival, things got heated. He, took out that rival in the night and then disappeared before anyone could find him. And now is like kind of living and hiding and scraping by one job at a time.
So do you think that you are a crew member on the Kiss of Death, or have you been with the ship for a little while, or like are you someone who's just come aboard at the last port of call?
I like last port of call. I like this is a very like but maybe even like a few ports ago. Like I think this is a recent thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is because like I don't think I'm quite established enough to be a crew member, like being that I'm still holding on to this urchin asset. But like there is something about being I've been here for a little while, but like there's clearly a sense of I still kind of fall into the space of being a stowaway, I think.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to roll on, or any other kind of aspects that you want to flesh out, Jasper?
I don't think so. I feel like I've got a handle. Like the one thing that I need to decide from this is choosing a field of study to represent your scholarly expertise.
Ancient treasured ghost ships.
I was going to say, I think that it is, I mean, you say that as a joke, but I think that's almost exactly what it is. I think I am a studier of, I'm going to write in capital letters, forbidden knowledge.
Love it.
Real Arkham University, real H.P. Lovecraft minus the horrendous racism shit of like, really digging into that space of like cracking books and like being drawn towards an evil inside of myself that then results in killing someone during the night.
Okay. So then how does that bring us to our intent to prove or disprove this story about this cursed ship?
I feel like if it's my specialty, I've got to be proving it, right? I feel like this is me desperate to prove that, like, and in some way to prove that the things that I have done to protect the research that I've done, maybe my rival was going to expose that I have been like researching, you know, ghost stories, and that my work has been, you know, hearsay and fish stories. And maybe I'm just desperate to like, I got to prove this. I've heard, you know, the moment we hear the first rumor, I think Jasper, like, this is maybe the moment Jasper has like stepped up and like really like held a place among the crew instead of just being somebody kind of hanging around the margins.
Okay.
As like we need to chase this down.
Yeah. So I think I have an idea for how we can kind of fall into this quest. I just rolled up a settlement because, you know, we should start with something, right?
Yeah.
We should start somewhere. And the settlement that I just rolled up is Jade Hollow. It's a town. And the first look is that it's under attack and partially destroyed by fire.
Mm.
So what I'm going to posit is that the Kiss of Death has kind of been making its way to Jade Hollow. And we've been on the sea for, you know, a couple of weeks after we left our last port, and maybe we've had a few run-ins with a few ships, and I'm not really sure yet are we pirates, are we privateers, what are we? I feel like with a ship named the Kiss of Death, it's certainly not merchants who are transporting goods.
Like, I think that we are flying the Jolly Roger, I think.
Yeah, it sounds, I mean, you know, it sounds appropriate, right? So I think that when we come into sight of Jade Hollow, we see this fire, and I'm just going full Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. So we see, you know, the settlement ablaze, the town, the like thatched roofs are on fire. There are people screaming and running around. And maybe as we're closing in, we see in the distance, sailing away from the town, a ship that looks ghostly, that doesn't quite look entirely there, with its tattered sails and its empty deck. And there's this weird, I think, juxtaposition for us of seeing this ghostly ship, maybe it's at dusk, and also seeing this town that is very clearly on fire and very real, that is going to, I think, create a question for us of what is going on. What do you think that we should do first, Jeff? Should we put in and try to help these people? Do we just set out in pursuit of this ghost ship right off the bat?
I think what is so interesting, I'm gonna put this kind of back into your world a little bit. because I know Jasper, I think like the second there are whispers among the crew that this ship is off in the distance, I think Jasper tears up from almost the cargo hold, comes running up full speed, kicking open doors, and like I think almost makes a dash for the steering to steer us towards the ship. Like I think Jasper is all but is half a step from mutinying. But like, how does Caspian respond to that?
Yeah, so I think Caspian is at the helm, and when you come running up, he's already turning the wheel to put in towards the settlement, because I think the reason we're coming to Jade Hollow is because there is someone here that Caspian wants to talk to, that needs to talk to. Seeing the town under threat, I think there is a part of him that is like, we should chase after this ship. But I think he's very much on the, I don't believe in ghost stories. So I think he's like turning the wheel to go towards the town, and you run up, and he kind of gives you this look and is like, Jasper, what are you doing?
Towards the ship. We need to steer towards that ship. I know that I am not in a position to ask, and I think like almost instinctively his hand is kind of like tapping on the hilt of the knife on his belt, like, and I am not making demands, but I am begging you with everything that I have. We need to go towards that ship.
I understand your desire to chase after a ship that by all rights falls into your areas of interest, but certainly we should at least check and see if the people of Jade Hollow are all right.
And I think like a look on his face of like there's the briefest flash of anger on his face, and then like almost calming himself back down, talking himself down from this energy, and kind of saying like, we need to talk through this. You are correct, you're right, but I'm not taking my eyes off of that ship.
So I'm totally open if you want to try to roll a compel to convince Caspian to change his mind.
I don't think so. I think that he's agreeing. I think that Jasper is agreeing with Caspian that we need to go, but I think that he is positioning himself on the ship's edge, like on the edge of the ship, and just like hands on a railing or on the hands on the edge, just like watching dead-eyed on where this ship is drifting to, this ghost ship.
Cool. Let's go ahead and jump ahead, and let's create an NPC.
Let's do it
for this that we want to talk to, because I think this is going to be the person that's going to set us on our quest. So, would you like to roll some Oracle dice, and I will fill in the details?
Yeah, of course.
Give us a first look, and I feel like because we're potentially chasing a ghost ship, we should definitely roll with the cursed die.
Got it in hand.
The question is, do we want to go stronger on it? So I think natively, if it's a 10, the result is cursed. We could do a range, like 7 to 10 or something like that. A friend of mine who runs the Bad Spot podcast, Matt, he does odds.
I like odds. Let's do odds.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
All right, here we go. That is an uncursed 46.
Okay, so that will be Haggard. That tracks. That's an appropriate first look.
That tracks to what's been going on in the town.
Yep. I'm going to skip past character disposition because I feel like we are setting this character up as being someone who Caspian knows. Mm-hmm. But let's roll on what their role is.
That is a cursed 26.
Let's see. Oh, unfortunately, it doesn't look like there are cursed options. So maybe we'll figure out what
we'll just note in the back of our minds that there is a curse
they're
afoot.
cursed. Yeah,
there's some way a curse is going to factor into this at some point.
So they're a laborer. So give me another roll to determine what sort of laborer.
A 58.
58. A lumberer. Okay. It's interesting. So maybe this is someone that Caspian has encountered in the past at a shipyard or something like that.
Yeah, and like I've got a pitch that's kind of in the back of my mind.
Bring it.
Perhaps Caspian is meeting this person. Perhaps, being that this is a lumberer showing up in a town that is partially burned down. Like maybe this is someone showing up. Like maybe Caspian has gotten the call of like, I'll be here in 3 days time. I will be there at the same time. And like the delivering supplies to this town to help it rebuild.
Cool. And then let's not belabor this. Let's just roll a name and then we can set this scene.
Give me a 33.
33 is, let's see. Do we want a given name or a moniker?
Give me a moniker.
Flotsam.
Flotsam's great. Flotsam's very good.
So maybe this is somebody who used to be a carpenter on a pirate ship. And, has gotten a little too old to be in the game, and now is works with wood for settlements. And so let's go ahead and create this Flotsam here. So we jump ahead to we land on the shore. We get out of the ship's boat, and there's chaos on the streets, and people are kind of running to and fro with buckets of water, trying to toss them on the fires. And we make our way to where Flotsam said to meet him. Where do you think that is?
I feel like Flotsam, for who they are, like if they're a lumberer, they've probably asked us to meet, like probably at the docks and probably like near a particular like loading station on the docks of like, because presumably what we're going to be doing is like using the water to carry lumber back and forth, which raises the interesting question, I think, for Caspian of like, is this something that we normally do, or is this a favor to Flotsam specifically?
I think this is a favor. Yeah, I definitely don't think that this is our normal bailiwick.
Love that.
We should probably just ask the Oracle. Do we find Flotsam alive?
That's a great question, and I don't even know what number to set the Oracle at for this one.
I feel like 50-50.
50-50 it is.
Let's just call it 50-50.
The number that I have rolled is a 56.
Okay, so that's a no.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we come upon this section of the dock where we were supposed to meet Flotsam, and maybe there is a cart or some wagon, something that has space for this lumber, and there is a body just kind of pinned to one of the sides of this wagon with this just nasty looking spear. And I think Caspian walks forward and looks at this body, and there's just this moment of silence as he looks at it, and then he kind of looks around the dock, and there's people running back and forth, and he just grabs somebody and he says, "Who did this?" And what do you think they say?
I'm going to open this up to a roll here because I think what they immediately say is like, how the hell should I know? This whole place is on fire just because one piece of wood landed in somebody's back. I'm supposed to know I'm supposed to know what they did? There are more important things. We've all lost people.
I think Caspian kind of like shakes this person a little bit and just says, tell me what happened here. And maybe I should make
I think this is a compel. I think this is a compel with iron.
Well, let's see. So my stats, I've got an edge of 1. I've got a heart of 3. I've got an iron of 2, a shadow of 1, and a wits of 2. So I'll roll plus 2 on this. Okay. Well, that is a weak hit. It's 7 against 6 and 10.
Okay. Hate when you see that 10 land on the table.
I know. And I have a reputation for rolling terribly. So, yeah, it's great. So on a weak hit, they do what I want or agree to my conditions, but their agreement comes with a demand or a complication. Envision their counteroffer. I mean, the obvious counteroffer would be like that they need help saving someone else, you know, that they're rushing to help someone else who's in danger. And they're just like, I'll tell you everything that happened, but you have to come with me now. We need to save, you know, my friend.
I was going to posit a very big complication.
Oh, I love it.
What if you get the answer to this question, but by way of a spear zipping by your head?
Ooh, okay. I love it.
They're able to in an instant give you the answer that you need, and the answer is that guy there, that guy with the spear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that better. We're standing there. This spear whizzes by and kind of like twang into the wagon. And Caspian drops this person and whirls, reaching down towards the sword at their side. What do you think we see?
I mean, I think that we have to see, like, I guess this is the big question, right? And maybe this is an oracle roll, or maybe this is just asking you directly, like, is this town under attack by a human force or by the forces of this ghost ship?
I don't want to answer that question.
Okay.
Because I don't want to decide whether or not there is something to be proved.
Okay. Yeah, I like
or
that.
disproved.
Yeah.
But I think that what we can say is that whoever's attacking this, maybe they have some sort of corporeal form.
Yeah.
So there is someone standing there and holding in their left hand several of these like nasty looking javelins. And, it's just like racking up another one, getting ready to chuck it.
Behind them, there are figures, corporeal forms, like carrying boxes, and like it is revealed to us whether these are forces living or undead. They are doing a full scale pirate raid of this town. Like they are robbing the entire town blind.
Yeah. Here's the question, I think. Do we swear the Iron Vow now, which is to find out, to find out who did this, why they did this, and get revenge? And we can kind of fold in the ship. Because I think the ship, whether it's a ghost ship or not, is where these things are coming from and where they're returning to. Should we roll that Iron Vow first as kind of like this is a muttered vow under Caspian's?
That feels good. Feels good. This feels like the moment that we are committing to. Like this feels like the moment where it has like laid out, mapped out in front of us.
Yeah. So we're going to say find out who killed Flotsam, why, and gain revenge. Now, I don't know if you want to swear your own Iron Vow.
I think I'm going to do that because I think I think that like the whole time you're having this conversation with this person, the second that even as you see the spear go by, I think Jasper has like ignored all of this and is like on one knee, like running his fingers through blood and jabbing at the body and like doing full like crime scene investigation to understand the metaphysical nature of what has happened to Flotsam.
I like it.
And so I think that like I am swearing an oath to like understand if this is natural or supernatural.
Is there a way that we can combine these two so that we can
work together?
I
think it determine the cause of the raid on what was the name of the village?
Jade Hollow.
Determine the nature of the raid on Jade Village and bring it and put a stop to it. Is I think like the culmination of both of the things that we're hunting for.
I think formidable is probably the highest that I want to go rank wise.
I think that feels right. Yeah. for the plot of the session in front of us.
Yes. So with that in mind, now we should roll that Iron Vow. And actually, I'm going to have you roll it since I feel like Caspian's goal is kind of a sub goal under that.
That is a 1. Oh my God, it's a match. Oh my God, it's a match at Snake Eyes. Oh, that rips. That's good. That's a good vibe immediately.
Awesome.
That is a strong hit with a match. That's good.
Okay. So, take +2 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And then, man, what is this opportunity that we have? I mean, it's got to be that you get some like flash of insight in that moment, just as we're kind of like, as you're looking through that and, but what would it be?
This doesn't necessarily push us one direction or the other still, which I really like being in this middle space, especially as we have so few spots on the progress track filled out.
Yeah.
This spear, the spear that flew by your head, the spear that has impaled Flotsam, this spear is impossibly ancient.
Of course it is.
Like it is an ornate ancient spear that does not, like it is not something that would have been produced in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Or if it is, it would be like sitting in a museum somewhere.
Oh, that's terrifying, but also so cool. You're having this flash of insight as Caspian is turning and there is this figure with these, now that we know, ancient spears. Caspian's going to draw his blade and he's going to charge forward. And I think probably instead of just entering a fray here and doing a protracted battle or protracted combat, let's just roll a battle roll. And I'm going to do that. Is Jasper joining in this battle at all?
I think so. I think that Jasper is creeping up behind somebody with a knife specifically to like pull them aside. Yeah. Or to come up on behind them and slash a throat, probably.
Would that be securing an advantage in some way?
I think that's securing an advantage. I think that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what I will roll. This is probably plus shadow. That feels right.
Yeah, that feels right. Deception, stealth, trickery.
My shadow is my +3. So that is a. Oh my God, that is a miss. Great, good.
Oh no. Okay. So we gotta pay the price.
Pay the price.
My favorite.
I love rolling on the pay the price table. This is the best.
This game.
All right, here we go.
This game.
You face the consequences of an earlier... Okay, then I know exactly what I would like for this to be. We're hitting the gas. I'm putting my foot on the gas pedal, and I'm not removing it. I come up behind this pirate throwing a spear. As they're pulling back with a javelin, I like rear back. He turns and looks me in the eyes, and on his face is the face of the scholarly colleague that I murdered in the night.
Oh, man. That's not good.
that's real not good.
That's real not good.
Whether that is real or I am like visualizing it or imagining it or having this moment, but I'm staring face to face with the guy that I kill.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm going into battle alone.
Yeah, I think so.
On this. So I think I'm going to say that I could go either way on this. It could be Heart because he's just kind of charging at this group of not sure what. It could also be Iron, which is fighting in close.
This feels like Iron to me.
Yeah. I can live with that. So +2 on this roll. Oh, that's a 5 on the action die. 4 and a 3 on the challenge dice. So
okay.
Strong hit.
We love to see it.
Take it. So that gives me 2 momentum and then achieve objective unconditionally.
What does it look like as you run through these raiders?
Do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Roll that curse die.
All right. That's a 10.
Okay. So they're men of a sort. Like their bodies are flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And he just runs forward and just kind of like charging stab through the one as that one's kind of distracted. Maybe you're standing there kind of face to face with this this scholarly visage that you killed, and then just all of a sudden this sword just protrudes out from its chest. And I don't know, maybe that image, that vision like flickers a little bit, or maybe it stays the same, but there's just a gout of blood, and then the sword comes out, and then there's another, one that comes charging forward, and it's just this flurry of activity. And in less than a minute, Caspian's just kind of like heaving as there are these maybe 4 or 5 bodies laying around them. And he kind of looks at you and he's like, "Are you all right?"
The detail that I want to throw in, or that I think is really exciting to me, is Jasper looks down and does not see the same face. Leaving that ambiguity, like whether it was that I imagined something or what, like it's not the same face that it was.
Yeah.
And Jasper, fully doubting all of his own senses, like brushes himself off and like pulls a spear out of a body and like readies it and is like, let's keep moving. We've got work to do.
So I think Caspian's going to take a quick moment to like search through the bodies to see if there's any like identifying information on them. So I'm going to roll a gather information.
Great.
So that's plus wits, which is +2. That is another strong hit. Oh, this just means
this is good. This is good.
We're just gearing up for a real heartbreak.
We're gearing up to just get obliterated in a little bit.
So discover something helpful and specific. The path we must follow or action we must take to make progress is made clear. Envision what we learn and take +2 momentum. So my momentum's already up to 6, which is awesome.
That's great. That rules.
And yeah. Do you want to roll some action and theme?
Yeah, of course.
And that will give us kind of our helpful and specific.
Rolling with the cursed die, naturally.
Yeah, of course.
That is a cursed 50.
So that's fortify for action.
And specific is a cursed 25.
Defense. Fortify defense. And it's cursed all the way around.
Cursed all the way around.
Let's do this. I am going to hit a button here, and I'm just going to roll up a quick faction.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it is an empire. The influence is notable. Hoarding of relics. Collusion with criminal factions. Okay, so this empire, maybe they're one of the major powers in this area. Maybe they've been around for a long time.
Yeah,
and maybe these spears are spears that they would have once used
I love that.
Hundreds of years ago or whatever. And maybe we know that there is some sort of, they have some sort of base of operations close to Jade Hollow that is just a like fortress on the sea that basically everybody steers away from unless you're part of their organization. And maybe the direction that we saw the ship sailing is in that direction.
That's really compelling. That's so good.
Let's give this faction a name. We'll do a theme aspect and an empire identity.
All right.
So give me 2 oracle rolls.
Cursed dice or not?
Yes.
All right, let's go. That is an uncursed 95.
Okay. So that is Warforged.
An uncursed 81.
Warforged Regency.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And a cursed 27.
Okay, that is Kharkiv. It's the culture. So we'll call it the Warforged Kharkiv Regency, or just the Regency for short.
Yeah, the Regency feels good.
We rifle through these bodies and find these emblems of the Regency, and maybe there's even kind of, as we're looking up, there's a smaller ship that is kind of being loaded up with loot. That is, as we kind of run back to our boats, is starting to make way out to sea and is heading in that same direction that ghostly, maybe, ship is.
I love that. I really love that.
I think we can mark a box of progress.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to do that. At this point, we've sworn our vow. We have fought off some Regency warriors who may be ancient or maybe not. And now we return back to the Kiss of Death. And I think we're going to get underway to start pursuing these ships.
And I think Jasper, I'm going to call it a move here. Jasper is going to like immediately retreat back down into sort of like his makeshift quarters on the lower decks, because that's where he keeps his small collection of books.
Oh, yeah.
And I am gathering information and conducting research on like the lore and the legends of these ghost ships very specifically.
Yeah.
I want to know everything there is to know about like either what these ghost ships might really be, or at least what people are saying about them. Because what we're either facing is a ghost ship or someone that wants us to think that they are a ghost ship. And either way, knowing what they want us to know or knowing what we should be expected to know is going to be very useful.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so here we go. So that is plus gather information. I think is plus wits, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Great. That is +2 for me. I'm going to add an extra +1 here because I'm using my scholarly expertise.
Love it.
That's a strong hit. That's a 5, 6, 7, 8 versus a 3 and a 2. So that's going to give me an extra point of momentum. And
Beautiful.
Also, what do I get also from gather info? Where am I at?
You get 2 more momentum, and
that's what we
get
like.
Helpful and specific again.
I am at 7 momentum.
Yes.
I get something helpful and specific.
We're going to live forever.
We're going to live forever. We're doing great. We're doing great. What do we learn? That's a great question. What is the piece of lore that we learn here?
So it's specifically about ghost ships. So it's got to be, are there stories of just one ghost ship? Or are there lots of stories of ghost ships?
I'm going to say, where I'm going to pull on, I think this moment, this is the moment to kind of decide that. And I think I'm compelled by the idea that there is like a ghost ship. Like this is a, you know what I mean? Like this is an event. Seeing something that even has the possibility that this is that particular ship is significant. And I think, it feels really good. Okay, this is the energy, and this has good potential whether or not it's true.
Okay.
The stories are that when this ghost ship appears, they would take you. There was no amount of violence or cunning or diplomacy that could stop this ship from taking what it wanted, or like setting its sight on a specific object, taking that object, and then disappearing into the mist. It is a juggernaut that rolls over entire fleets and entire cities and takes takes something, an object. It's always tied to like a treasure of a specific place, something that is like sacred and beloved, and then departs. All of the piracy and damage and looting around it is in the name of stealing something that is ancient and powerful, or like something that is beloved and valuable. And that's maybe the lesson, is like, it tells us that there was something specific in Jade Hollow that this boat was stealing, whether they want us to think they're a ghost ship or they're the ghost ship.
Yeah. Oh man, I now have this idea, and I don't know if it will bear any fruit, but what if it is a ghost ship and this smaller ship, the Regency, are opportunists who either have some sort of like control over it that they can send it in a direction, and then they sweep in after in the chaos to loot all the other stuff.
Here's the thing. I think we get another progress, because I think that like that is exactly what it is, and I want the moment of us piecing that together to represent our next progress box.
I love it. So we're up to 2 progress now.
Yeah.
Which feels great. We have to chase this juggernaut of a ship and another ship with a bunch of bloodthirsty warrior types. Why are we doing this again?
Is that a you question, or is that a Caspian question? I think that's juicy.
That's a me question. I feel like Caspian is not taking time to think about why we're doing this. We're just doing it.
I think like implicitly there is the knowledge that we're doing this because we made a promise to a friend.
Yeah.
And they took away that friend. Like they killed that friend. Like this is vengeance, honestly.
It is. I mean, honestly, like Flotsam probably saved Caspian's life as a younger man. And so there's a little bit of that like life debt at play. All right. Well, the Kiss of Death slips away from the burning Jade Hollow and pursues the ghost ship and this smaller ship across the sea. I think we kind of have an idea of where we're going, at least we think. So I think I'm just going to roll set a course.
Yeah.
To see, how favorable or unfavorable it is when we get there. So the good news is we have 5 supply. So we're doing well there. Nothing can go wrong. That is a 10 for the action score and an 8 and a 9 on the challenge dice.
That's what we like to see.
I saw the 8 and the 9 first, and I was like, oh boy. But that's a strong hit.
That's a strong hit.
We reach our destination, and the situation there favors us. And I get a momentum. So we arrive. We're within, all I can think of is periscope. That's not the right word.
Hailing distance?
I was thinking, the telescope. So we can see the
spyglass is what I think.
Spyglass.
We're in
That's
spyglass
the
distance.
Word. Yes, we're spyglass distance, where we can kind of see this like craggy, rough terrain of this island and this massive fortress that is built on top of it, and it has whatever weapons there are in our time, because we haven't rolled that truth yet. This fortress is replete with them, and it is a little intimidating to think about storming that fortress, but the situation favors us, so maybe we don't have to. Maybe this fortress, there's no viable area for ships to weigh anchor, and so there's maybe a bay a little bit away where ships start to like make their home. And
I like that. I really like that.
So maybe we can see these ships are heading in that direction, Do we see them both or just one of them?
I think are we I guess this is the question. Are we chasing the ghost ship or are we chasing the crew the Regency?
So I think they were both heading in the same direction.
Yeah, so then I think that we got to see both, right? I think that's the...
Yeah, just trying to think of how we approach this situation, again, without kind of deciding one way or another.
See, I think that we're at a point, we're at the point where I think I'm comfortable making the call.
Okay.
I think that's where I'm at this moment. Like, I think that we've reached the moment where, like, I think... flipping through that book and seeing that stuff and then realizing like piecing, I think when we see the second ship, and I guess this is a question for you. Do we think the second ship is giving chase to the ghost ship and trying to steal that relic off of it? Or do we think that they were just stealing some extra things from Jade Hollow after the ghost ship had made itself known?
I kind of like the idea of either they are in control of this ghost ship, meaning they're of the same faction,
mm-hmm.
or they are essentially just opportunists. They somehow have divined a way to know where the ghost ship is going to turn up. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe we see the ghost ship kind of going in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at this point where it's like, oh, well, do we go after the ghost ship or do we go after the Regency? And it's like, obviously we go after the ghost ship.
I think that sounds great. I think we face this decision. And I even think that decision is our next progress box, right? Like, I think making that decision.
Because I think it's a ghost ship, right? I mean, we both know it's a ghost ship.
Yeah, we've decided this thing is ghost.
Yeah. So I think that it is a ghost ship of an ancient Regency ship.
Yeah.
And so maybe the things that we fought on the shore, maybe they were kind of from that ship and not from the ghost ship and not from the Regency ship, but they had that similar armor and that similar symbols. And so now that we see and maybe that's why the ghost ship doesn't bother Regency ships or the Regency settlements,
mm-hmm.
is there's something inherent in whether it's just seeing the heraldry and like it creates like a barrier or a defense for those places, or there is some like deeper sorcery at play here. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that energy a lot.
Okay. So we see the ghost ship kind of sailing in a divergent course from kind of going straight towards this island where this fortress is. And so the wheel turns and the sails catch the wind just right, and we begin to turn, kind of careening through the waves, following after this ghost ship. What's our next move? Are we just trying to catch this thing and like board it?
I think Jasper has asked Caspian that exact question. I think that like this whole conversation between you and I has been like Jasper relaying information about this ghost ship and like pointing out details, and like we've pieced this together, right? Like this has been us kind of musing on the deck together. And I think Jasper finally just goes like, so what then? We board the immortal ghost ship? Do we try and rout the piranhas that travel in the wake? What's our play here, Captain?
Caspian is a sorcerer. I wonder if he has maybe just a touch of hubris,
mm-hmm.
that surely he could be the one to finally put to rest this ghost ship. And I think he looks at Jasper and says, "Piranha eat what prey they find. There's no will or malice to it. It's just the way of nature. But that ghost ship, there's something terrible, powerful there. And I would have it."
And I would have my proof that there is more to this world than the unambitious would so describe. And I think now he's like gripping the knife hilt on his belt. Onwards and upwards, Captain.
Let us test our fate. Okay, so there is actually a set of rules for naval encounters.
Let's go.
in Sundered Isles. So there is the approach phase, there is the engagement phase, and then there's the boarding phase if you get to that. So the approach phase we can resolve as a single move using face danger or secure an advantage. We can also use a scene challenge, but I think we'll just resolve this in one roll. Mm-hmm. So we're going to roll face danger, and I think this is going to be plus heart because I have a crew, and I think that Caspian is commanding them and kind of encouraging them. Come on, man, we can catch this thing and then it'll be ours. Imagine those treasures aboard. And just really kind of like trying to spur them on. So here we go. That is a weak hit. 7 versus 7 and 3. Succeed, but not without a cost. Make a suffer move. -1. I mean, I think the easy one here would be supply, which in this case is hold, because I'm going to take it from the ship. As it's that like classic, we're like throwing stuff. Maybe we're throwing like lumber off that lumber that we were carrying to bring to Flotsam. We're just like chucking that stuff overboard to lighten the ship so that we can catch this ghost vessel. Then comes the engagement phase. It's a battle basically, so it's entering the fray. Do we feel like that's the way we want to go, or like do we feel as though this ghost ship is putting up a fight? Or
I had such a specific visual for like how this ghost ship is putting up a fight.
Please,
that I'm so excited about. As we start to approach, and I think this partially also represents the loss of hold, right? As we start to approach, our ship starts to creak and cry and crack, and like the wood starts to warp, and like it is, it starts to age, but then also like there are bursts and explosions of like what feel like or look like or sound like almost cannon fire crashing like onto the ship, and it is like the ghost ship does not even have to open fire. It's simply the aura of it is such that it will demolish any ship in its presence.
That is awesome. I don't have any. So the sorcerer asset says when you secure an advantage or gain ground by creating a minor mystical effect, roll plus spirit. So I don't know that I can really do anything to kind of try to protect the ship as we're approaching. But also, it's our game. Like we can, yeah. I feel like I'm going to roll, but I think the key here is if I have to suffer any sort of penalty, it's going to be a larger penalty because I'm pushing the bounds of this a little bit. So we're going to secure an advantage to basically try and bolster mystically the ship as we're kind of riding the eddies of this, despair aura. And this is plus spirit, which is currently +5. So that's pretty good. 10s always get you. So that is it's a weak hit. So I got a 10 versus a 10 and a 5, which means I can take the standard benefits of the move, but first endure stress. So I'm going to take, should I take +2 momentum or should I take +1 to our next move?
I feel like we're in a really good spot with momentum. I know I've got 7 and I think you've got 8. So I think we're in a really strong spot to like shrug off most of what this boat can throw at us. I think +1 the next move is going to be the play. Okay.
So I'm going to take that. Now, normally I would endure a -1 stress. I'm going to take 3.
Okay. Yeah. That feels good.
Because this is, quite the mystical, like he's straining at this point. And like the closer we get, just sweat beating. I think maybe he even hands off control of the ship and is just like hands gripped on the railing, sweating and straining as he's focusing this mystical power to kind of shelter the ship as much as possible. And I think that earns us another progress.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, please continue.
No. So I was going to say, are we close enough to board this?
I think we're close enough to board, and I would love to make a dramatic move to possibly like gain us some ground.
Oh, I love it.
Which is to say, like, I think Jasper has snuck away from the group and has cut a rope to fully swing onto the ship in secret.
Yes.
I would love to face danger plus shadow plus 1 for using my knife to like carve a rope and swing across.
And I think you should take my +1 as well.
So that is a +3, 4. That is a +5.
Yeah.
If I fumble this, I'm going to be so mad. That's a 6. Okay, great.
Oh boy. Oh no.
You hate to see that 10. However, that's a weak hit.
Okay. Boy.
What an absurd roll.
To
roll
goodness.
to get +5. Roll a 1 on your action die.
Yep.
Roll a 10 on your difficulty die, and then make it a weak hit.
Whew.
I love this game so much.
It's just the best.
So I'm going to make it across but pay a price, as I believe what I'm going to do here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to make a suffer move. I will also bump this up to 3, and I think this is also I'm going to also take 3 spirit, I think is the play.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think like I think I land on the ship and am immediately overwhelmed with this sense of dread and horror and like immediate dawning realization that this is a real thing and oh god, everything I've been researching is true. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen in my life.
Sometimes you don't want to find out what
Sometimes
you
you don't want to find out. And I'm gonna where's my suffer? Where's suffer here? Suffer, endure stress. I'm gonna roll +2 stress here. That's a weak hit, so we're just gonna keep on shrugging.
Nice.
I'm not gonna lose momentum to retain spirit. We're just gonna keep right on trucking.
Just gonna keep on trucking. You're on the deck of this ghost ship.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see? I mean, obviously you've described this like despair and dread and all this stuff, but looking around the deck of the ship, what is there? Is there anything here, or is it just an empty deck?
It's not what you see on the deck. It's what you hear and see around the deck. Because the second you set foot on the deck, you can look out over the ship's bow in any direction and see every single town that this ship has ever ransacked. 1,000 bloody, violent raids, all happening at the same time. 1,000 cannons firing, all of which, like, all of that violence and destruction and desiccation is happening all at the same time.
Oh, chills.
Yeah. I love games.
Oh, so what do you do with that?
Honestly, I think I creep into a corner to like write this, to jot this note, to like note this, and then press onward towards, I think I'm heading for the hull here.
Okay.
Because I think I'm trying to recover what was stolen.
Well, I think that the Kiss of Death is going to attempt a boarding action.
Okay.
Now, normally I think with boarding actions in here, it would be like you enter the fray.
Mm-hmm.
But because there isn't an opposing force to fight,
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm just going to roll a face danger
I think that
to
feels
see
right. That feels right.
if we can get close enough. And I think that I'm going to just kind of keep hammering on heart.
Mm-hmm.
As
I'll buy
like
heart for this.
just like bolstering the crew as we get even closer and closer to this thing. So +3 on this roll. Oh, it's happened. So that is a miss. That is a 9 and a 7 versus my 7 action score. And unfortunately, unless I missed adding a momentum, I only have 7 momentum.
Oh, I thought you had an 8 for some reason.
Apparently, I only have 7.
Okay.
If I didn't, give myself +1 somewhere along the line, that's on me. So, wait. I am a crew commander, which means I can suffer -1 command. I have 2 right now to improve a miss to a weak hit or a weak hit to a strong hit.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. So we are going to drop my command from 2 to 1, which makes sense. The crew is not very happy with me leading them into this situation, but, frankly, they don't get a say in this. So a weak hit means a suffer move, -1, but we are close enough to board. I could hammer the spirit again, but maybe this is having like an actual physical toll at this point. Because he's continuing to just like strain and hold this mystical shield around the ship. And I think it is literally exhausting him. So I'm gonna lose 1 health. And then I will, I'm not going to roll to endure it. I'm just going to take it because I think he's too distracted to try and like endure harm or stress at this point. Like he's just absorbing it. So we reach the ship. I think we're both on the ship now. So I think we can give ourselves another box of progress, which takes us up to 5. We're almost there.
Almost there.
I think Caspian kind of leaps across, maybe a couple other of the crew leap across, and they start to creep across the deck, looking here, looking there. I honestly like expecting an ambush. Like this is the sort of feeling of there's something lurking around the corner waiting for you. And especially because they now can see that same vision that you had of these thousands of towns being ransacked, that it's just a pure like cognitive dissonance. And they're kind of creeping across the deck as they're enduring this. What's Jasper up to?
I think Jasper, invoking one of my other moves here, I think Jasper is attempting to sneak through the ship without being noticed by whatever supernatural presence is the ship itself to get to the hold, to find out the relics that are inside and hopefully find what was taken from Jade Hollow.
Yeah.
I think this is a face danger plus shadow again.
Sounds good to me.
All right. That is a 4 and 6 on the challenge dice. That is a 6. So that's a weak hit, but I could turn it into a strong hit.
Is this the moment?
I think this is the moment. Because I think that what this is, fundamentally, is Jasper has done the research. Like, this is Jasper, like, processing, like, kind of muttering to himself the tiny little rituals about, like, what forms the ship takes and, like, the stories that sailors have told of this ship. And so, is doing that and is, like, sidestepping and, like, creeping around the ship to get into position to get into the hold.
It's terrifying, but I love it. So you're creeping your way towards the hold. I think let's just stick with you. I want to find out what's in that hold.
Okay, great. I think we're cracking an oracle here. This feels right.
Whatever we roll on, we should not roll the cursed die. We should just roll on the cursed table.
I think so.
Because
I think you're right.
It's cursed.
It's for sure cursed. Whatever is on this ship is for sure cursed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a roll, and you tell me what's on the treasure table, the precious item treasure table for the cursed result.
Sounds good.
That is a cursed 38.
Okay, so 38 on the precious items is going to be glittering gemstones, and the cursed aspect is imbued with a whispering sentience.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. It's probably the dead spirits of the crew of this ship, right?
I'm going to take it even a notch further.
Okay.
It's the dead spirit. It is absolutely the dead spirits. It's the dead spirits of the captain of every vessel that they have sank.
Oh, yeah.
Every sailor that they have claimed, every sailor that they have laid waste to.
Yeah.
has become trapped in a gemstone in their hold.
Maybe that's the like core essence of this ship. There are other treasures around, all of these different treasures that have been taken from these different towns. Maybe even a step further. Every ship they've sunk and every town they've pillaged, there is a gemstone for the captain and the governor, you know. And so you step into this hold and there are just so many.
The
weight of it. And there's probably even this like hubbub of whispers that fill the hold almost to cacophony. How do you feel about Caspian kind of stumbling onto this scene as you're standing?
That feels right. That feels great. Because I don't think Jasper's taking this well.
Do you want to endure stress or something just to represent the horror?
Here's the thing. Actually, I said that and then immediately stopped to think about it. I think it's way more interesting if Jasper's taking this really well.
He's almost giddy.
He's almost, it's a quiet awe, right? I was right. This is the proof. This is the proof that I need to prove that I was right and that they were wrong and that he was wrong and that I was right to do what I did. This is it.
I think that's the moment where Caspian kind of clatters down the steps next to you and looks around and goes, "This place is wrong. So very wrong.
This is the treasure trove of the ghost ship. This is what they have been. These are the relics that they have been claiming. The souls of the damned who stood against them. And here it is laid out in front of us for the taking, should we so choose."
I'm going to make my own gather information roll to see if Caspian can recall any sort of like mystical lore about kind of dealing with these sort of like cursed sentient gemstones in a ship's hold. Because I think in his mind, he's looking at this and maybe even says it out loud of like, this is not a treasure to be taken. This is something to be buried. It's too much. It's too much for mortal hands, mortal hearts. And this is coming from a pirate, so, you know. So I'm going to roll plus wits. It's going to be a weak hit, 7 versus a 10 and a 2. Well, lots of 10s. So information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Envision what you discover, then take +1 momentum. So now I'm at 8. Specifically, I'm asking for, like, how do we put a stop to this? He stumbles upon an insight, but it's also a complication. Got any ideas?
My immediate thought is, and I'm trying to decide what the complication is with this, but like my immediate thought is that the way to put a stop to this is to give these gemstones a burial at sea. But what's the complication? Is it that we cannot take any of this treasure with us? Is it that like so long as even one gemstone stays aboard this ship, the ship will travel and continue to collect? Is it that the second we start disturbing gemstones, then suddenly ghost pirates come and try to fuck our shit up? Like, what's the vibe?
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost tempted to say that the complication is that everything that has touched this space, all of the precious relics from all of those different towns have become tainted by this power. And so we can't take any of it for ourselves, which is what we want to do. Yeah, some of the stuff is cursed, but like treasure. But I think that it is maybe exactly what you said. If even one piece not even stays on the ship, but leaves this ship, then maybe it will be a couple of years or 20 years, but eventually the ship will return and will continue its crusade hunting for ancient artifacts or treasures. maybe that's the complication, is that we have to decide, like, are we okay? Like, we could just take all the stuff that we could get our hands on and run, but this ship is going to continue doing what it's done.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That is, I think, the crux of what we're deciding right now. I think that's the crux of the energy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the vibe in a nutshell. It's like, that's where we find ourselves, right? Like, that's the rub, so to speak. Like, is we have concluded this. Do we risk the ghost ship?
I think Caspian even says, we can't take any of this. We have to leave it all. If even a piece of it is transported away from this place, the ship will continue. But if we leave now, go back to the kiss of death, and sink this ship here and now, it may be enough.
Let's give ourselves a progress for this. I think now that we've like cracked the thing, I think that puts us to at least 6.
I agree. And I'm kind of wondering if we should resolve the vow right now. And if we get a strong hit, then we resisted. And
I think it feels good. I think
we succeeded.
Resisting the pull feels right.
I'm going to let you roll the 2d10 to resolve this, because I think Caspian is okay walking away from this. I don't know if Jasper feels like he now has to take some proof that he can use to prove it. I think it might be down to, is Jasper satisfied just knowing that he was right, or does he need to prove it to someone else? Our fate is in your hands.
Are you seriously asking me to leave behind the evidence that everything that I've done has been for something, and to accept that I am going to merely spend the rest of my days as another one of those sailors sitting around a bar swapping big fish stories? Is that what you're asking me right now?
Yes. I know it's hard.
How noble of you, the daring, dashing pirate, to look out at a treasure trove and say, well, there surely will be another horizon. There will not be another horizon for me. There will not be another adventure for me. And the knife has now come out of the belt, and a hand is reaching for that gemstone. Because I rolled a 7 and a 10.
Oh! Okay. So we should consult our move here.
See what happens on a miss.
It's nothing good, is what it is.
It's bad. I know it's bad.
It's very bad. Okay, on a miss, your vow is undone through an unexpected complication or realization. Envision what happens and choose one. Give up on the quest, forsake your vow, or recommit to the quest and roll both challenge dice, take the lowest value and clear that amount of progress boxes, then raise the vow's rank by 1. Well, unfortunately for us, we can't pick that option. Because we have to resolve this here and now. So I think this is what I'm going to say, Jeff. Caspian, if presented with this situation, I think would draw his blade and strike Jasper down.
Here's what I will say. This is a one-shot. Kill me, please.
That is what my character would do. But I think that it is up to you, because you made the roll. Mm-hmm. Caspian is leaving this ship. We know that because I have a bunch more of these to do. Does he kill Jasper? Does Jasper fight him off and they become separated, and maybe Jasper gets stuck on this ghost ship and becomes, part of the ship, part of the crew? What is our final scene here?
We watch the kiss of death sail silently off into the horizon. We see Caspian's at the helm, sitting quietly, blood on his sword. And back in the ghost ship, we see a mother of pearl, and briefly in it, we hear a cackling laughter. And a refrain of I was right! I was right the whole time! And we hear that cackling on board the ghost ship as it sails off into the night.
And thus ends our adventure.
That's game. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
I love this game so much.
For the first like 30 minutes, I was like, man, I don't know how we're going to get there. And it just all came together.
Every single episode of Party of One you've just described in an instant.
Fair enough. Well, I really genuinely appreciate you coming on the show and playing our favorite game with me. Please tell the people where they can find you.
You can find all of the things that I do, the podcasts I create, the games that I write, and the book that I published, The Ultimate Fantasy Character Creator, available in bookstores near you. You can find all of that information at jeffstormer.com, or you can find me on social media at either Jeff Stormer or Party of One Podcast, depending on what you're looking for. Check out Party of One. It is an actual play podcast about two-player role-playing games, including an episode with the two of us that should be dropping right around the same time as this episode, so you can go listen to that. And I think that's about it.
Thanks for listening to Errant Adventures. If you enjoyed the show, please spread the word. And if you want to support the show directly, leave me a review or support me on Patreon at patreon.com/errantadventures. You can also buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com/errantadventures. If you want to interact with me, my handle on all the socials is @errantsolopod, or you can email me at errantsolopod@gmail.com. I also post short fiction and campaign-related materials on my website, errantadventurespod.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the deep, liars.